The 2025 budget, amounting to 217.1 billion kwacha, was delivered under the theme Building Resilience for Inclusive Growth and Improved Livelihood. In accordance with this, Standing Orders 166 of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2024, the estimates were referred to various committees for detailed consideration. In scrutinizing the 4 heads of expenditure, the committee held 9 meetings and interacted with ministers of education and technology and science and respective permanent secretaries and 17 selected grant-aided institutions and non-state organs. Chairperson, the committee's report highlights the findings and recommendations of the committee on each head of report is in 3 parts. Head 09, Teaching Service Commission. The committee, Honorable Chairperson, observed the lack of accounting officers in some schools as evidenced by the Auditor General's report, which raises significant challenges for financial management and accountability within the education system. The committee observes that the absence of qualified personnel to handle school finances has had several negative implications, particularly with the growing CDF-funded projects and skills programs. The committee, therefore, recommends that the budget for the Teaching Service Commission should prioritize the recruitment of qualified accounting officers in schools. Head 39, the Smart Zambia Institute. Establishment of a cybersecurity operations center. The committee observed that with the amount of digitalization that has so far been achieved, extending even to constituencies, there will be need to establish the cybersecurity operations center. However, no resources have been allocated to this activity, and the resources which have been allocated are insufficient. Honorable Chair, the committee recommends that an additional 70 million kwacha be sourced to undertake this project. Head 66, the Ministry of Technology and Science. Regulation of tuition fees in trade schools. The committee notes with concerns that the rapid upward adjustment of tuition fees in trade schools, especially in private institutions, is eroding the skills development bursaries scheme and reducing the number of students that could benefit from the facility. The committee acknowledges that this development is as a result of RED funding for students under the skills development bursaries under CDF. Given that TVETA currently has no mandate to regulate pricing of programs, the committee recommends that the government should expedite revisions of the TVETA Act in order to increase the mandate of TVETA in future. The committee is of the view that the bursaries under the scheme should be given to students in public institutions. And Head 80, Ministry of Education, Honorable Chair. Enhance monitoring and evaluation of service delivery. The committee expresses concern about the decline in funding for the Education Standards Assessment and Evaluation sub-program. Despite an overall increase in the Ministry of Education budget, this decline could threaten the progress made by the government in education provision. In light of their achievements in expanding access of education through the Education for All policy, the committee recommends prioritizing the monitoring and evaluation of school standards along the adequate resources allocation. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, and I beg to move.
Thank you very much for that submission. Honourable members, any questions? Okay, as members are perusing through, on your submission, according to the document, we have page number 8. On your page number 8, under the establishment of the Cyber Security Operations Center, you are making a recommendation that the committee recommends that an additional 70 million be sourced to undertake this project. So is this a recommendation that the Minister of Finance, over and above what was allocated in terms of the total head, is this the recommendation that the Minister of Finance and National Planning should do source some further funding from somewhere or within the budget?
Honorable Chair, from the interaction that we had with the PS and the Minister, it was found that this money be sourced elsewhere because there was still a constraint in the resources allocated to the ministry. Thank you.
Okay. Then under page number 19, where you are talking about the committee expressing concern about the decline in funding for the education standards and assessments. I think this one, we are seeing it across where most of the ministries are complaining about the decline in terms of the funding. Just as a general comment, if at all you ask them what could have been the reason for the decline in terms of funding, that is my first question. Then the second one, and our end there, is the issue of the Ministry of Education. They do charge some fees, isn't it? They collect non-tax revenue, either through the exam, is it the exams and the like. Was there any talk, and if that is correct, was there any talk about how is the ministry supporting the Ministry of Finance in terms of revenue mobilization?
First of all, Honorable Chairperson, the Ministry of Education does not have the facility for any levy collection from any student, except for those students who are conducting GCE, yes, the external students who are paying for exams. So the level of resource mobilization is very trace. It's almost like it's nil.
Okay.
Yes. So it's difficult for the ministry to organize in other way other than just submitting to the Minister of Finance. Thank you.
Okay. And the other issue, before the others come in, the reduced funding, what could have been their comments? What were the reasons for that?
The Minister and the PS indicated to the committee that they had to find it difficult also because all their units, all their sections, they had insufficient funds. So there was nothing they could do other than just allowing the situation to be like that.
Okay. Thank you. Honorable General.
Chairperson, thank you very much. Chairperson of the Committee on Education, we are so grateful. Thank you for your submission. My chairperson is on the issue of a insufficient number of accounting officers in schools. Yes, according to your findings, Chairperson of Education Committee, from the Auditor General's report, where did you find gray areas, okay, for the schools, those schools which have got accounting officers, or the schools without accounting officers? Because I say so, Chairperson, in the last 2 to 3 weeks, I received a report in one of the schools in Monza district, where the accounting officer, they were conniving with the head teacher to come up with the fake figures so that they can embezzle or misuse the school grant. And some of the schools where we don't even have accounting officers, the money is being properly utilized. And what was the findings in that report from the Auditor General's report? Because those same accounting officers, and you know quite all right, they learn how to balance figures, and it is very difficult for them to, for you, okay, a layman, to catch him, okay, stealing, because they know how to balance those figures. And have you ever considered that money also is not enough? It will be very difficult for the government to recruit accounting officers in those schools. Have you ever considered that? Then the other issue is on the issue of grants, okay, which is given to primary schools. Is it quarterly grants? How is the money being utilized compared to the monies which used to come through the DEP's office? Is there anything which has improved right now? Because the reason why money started going straight to primary schools, it is because of the misuse at the DEP's level or at the district level. Is there any improvement right now when the money is going straight to the primary schools, no secondary schools? Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sweso.
Thank you so much. Chair, thank you so very much for the opportunity, and also just to thank the Committee on Education, Science and Technology for a very well represented report. My question is on page 14, where they rightly highlighted the regulation of tuition fees in trade schools. I think this is one of the concerns that I, like for example, where I come from. I learned with dismay that there are schools here just within Lusaka where I only have the whole school. All the students are coming from Mandi. This school is only known by just Mandi. There's no other student from anywhere else. And the amount that is being paid to these trade schools is so enormous. Like for example, they're coming for agricultural, general agriculture. The same cost that you find at NRDC costing maybe 9,000. You find that the trade schools here that do not even have a garden are charging 36,000 kwacha. So, but then, like you've indicated, this is really a challenge. But then you've also gone back to refer to the act that needs to be changed to regulate the TVET schools. So, in the midterm, is there anything that can be done when you interrogated with the witnesses? Is there anything that can be done in the immediate to make sure that something has to be done to put a stop to these trade schools that are exaggerating prices? Was there any maybe an SI that can be issued by the government just to make sure that we can really keep this? I submit.
Thank you. You can respond to this, then we'll go to the next.
Honorable Chair, I would like to beg, using my immunity, that if I could be questions one, the question.
Okay.
Instead of
okay, no, that's fine.
Because to erode
the
ability to attend to them adequately.
That's fine.
Yes. There was a question or a concern over what is in the Auditor General's report. The Auditor General's report does not discriminate. It shows just that schools need skilled schools. It just gives a general consensus that there's need for qualified school officers in schools, private government schools, to man those school grants which are being abused by both the heads and whoever officer is handling that money. That is the reading from the Auditor General's report. Then Honorable Sauta was saying That's what Honorable Kasauta was asking.
Mm.
Then that's why I want to attend to them one after the other. Then who else asked? The trade schools.
The trade schools.
Yes, the trade schools. Teveta, in the midterm, there's no midterm because Teveta is not mandated to supervise these schools, the trade schools, in terms of fees, how they are charging the students. They don't have that power. So the only tool here which can help Teveta is to review the act. And the reviewing of the act, it will depend on how quick the executive will act to make sure that the act is amended. Because other than that, it will be difficult for Teveta or any other body to govern these trade schools. Because even in Karabo, the fees which Karabo Trade School is charging is different from the fees which Monk Trades is charging. So it's like each school has that liberty. So there is need for consensus effort to make sure that trade schools are regulated.
Honorable Sweso follow-up? Then Honorable, okay, since it's 1-1, let you have exhaust, then we come to you, Honorable Simon.
So it wasn't a follow-up, it was another question that I wanted to find out on another head, which is Ministry of Education.
Okay.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Also, one of the things that I've observed on page 17 with concern is the funding that is going to the early childhood, ECE. With this, you can see that what has been allocated is 2.5%. And when you look at primary education, the allocation has gone to 16.3. So when you interacted with the witness in regards to education, for me, I believe one of the most important times that we are able to well, I am looking for the proper English word. The most important time in the development of a child is the time that they are between 0, the time they're about 8 years old. So if you are investing in education when the child is early, as they progress, you realize that investment will kind of, it will decrease because you've caught them at the right time that they're supposed to invest in them. But what is happening right now, we are investing more in primary, secondary, and higher education, and then at the time that we are supposed to target the children, the target is very, very minimal. That is the ECE, funding. So I wanted to find out if this was not a concern in regards to how much allocation has been put to ECE compared to the other enrollments at primary, secondary, and tertiary level. I submit.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. From the interaction also relating to the record, you would observe that there has been a steady increase in the allocation of resources towards early childhood education. In 2023, the figure was 4,462,000 plus. But 2024, you can see there's an increase from 400 to 500. Subsequently, also 2025, there's this increase. So the availability, the small basket which is carrying this resource is causing the ministry to allocate funds in this manner. The ministry admits that the early child education is also very important, but we have more primary schools which also need to be attended to. In the same vein, you would find that if we equip early child education centers, these centers will produce children who will have to progress to primary schools, which will be underdeveloped. So there is need of a steady development in all the sectors, including the primary and early childhood centers. Thank you.
Honorable Smunyi.
Thank you, Chair. I want to take the committee to the last point on the report, delayed the scaling of teachers. You know,
Which one is that? Come again.
delayed scaling of teachers.
Page number what?
Number 6 on the last point. Page 20.
Page?
Page 20.
Page 20. Okay.
Yes, here I tend to agree with the committee, because we know there are so many teachers who are trying to upgrade themselves. But at the end of the day, when this teacher is developed himself, he remains in the skill in which he was employed in. Demotivating the teacher who has spent a lot of time and resources to develop himself. I want to find out from the committee whether they tried to find out from the ministry what the problem is, why they're not upgrading teachers who have tried to upgrade themselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I respond to that?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The response was that the ministry admits that yes, there is a backlog of these cases of upgrading. However, the non-availability of sufficient resources has made the ministry not to attend to this matter at a fast speed. But it has taken it into consideration that they will handle this matter step by step. They have promised that in due course, starting with 2025, the upgrading of teachers' salaries will be under consideration, but not full scale. But they also admit that it is an issue which they have to get rid. But the non-availability of sufficient resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, other members? Okay, I don't see any. Okay. We'll still call you the chairperson or the acting chairperson for the committee on education, science and technology. We want to thank you most sincerely for appearing before this committee, and your submission will be considered. Key on them is that you are asking for over and above the provided budget for the heads, which you did is 70 million kwacha to the Minister of Finance and National Planning for the establishment of the cyber security operations. Yeah. However, if it is of view that maybe as those who are still sitting as a committee, in case there are any other areas that which we thought we needed some bit of movements, you can still submit. So obviously the clerk was managing your process. So I want to say thank you once again for appearing before this committee. Do enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and all members.
Thank you.
The National Assembly of Zambia invites applications from suitably qualified and experienced candidates to fill the following positions. 1. Printing Assistant, 1 candidate. Main duties and responsibilities: printing debates, running, photocopying documents, printing reports, abstracts and other publications, and performing other duties as assigned by the supervisor. Qualifications and experience: a grade 12 school certificate, holder of a certificate in printing, certificate in graphic design will be an added advantage, and at least 2 years working experience in a similar field. 2. Annotation Assistant, 1 candidate. Main duties and responsibilities: annotating proceedings of the House, collating and distributing members' contributions, playing the national anthem to commence the parliamentary proceedings, keeping an audio and printed record of the proceedings of the House, and performing other duties as assigned by the supervisor. Qualifications and experience: grade 12 school certificate, holder of a diploma in journalism, certificate in graphic design will be an added advantage, and computer survey and at least 2 years working experience in a similar field. All qualifications must be verified by the Zambia Qualifications Authority, ZAQA. Applications with detailed curriculum vitae clearly indicating 3 traceable referees, including their contact details, should be submitted and addressed to the Honorable Madam Speaker, National Assembly, Parliament Buildings, PO Box 31299 Lusaka. The closing date of receipt of applications is 21st October 2024. Please note that only shortlisted candidates will be contacted.
Think about you. Every day I pray for blessings to follow you. Akutimani is beautiful, but it's nothing compared to you. Chikondi changa nchopanda malire mali.